Hello everybody, it's Amy from Winterwood Studio and it's that time again. So I know I just had a big birthday haul from all of my viewers. Thank you so much for everything there. I actually have a big illustration project that's coming up that I can't talk about yet. And I needed some art supplies for that. So this is some restocks, some new supplies, and it is for my special project that is coming up that I'm not at liberty to talk about yet. So there's kind of a lot here. Grab yourself something cozy to drink, come on in and let's open these boxes and we'll for sure swatch the supplies, if not actually make some art with them. So let's have a good time. Go grab yourself something to drink. I'll make myself some tea and we will open all this and have some fun. Okay, so I am super excited to open all of this stuff. I think I might, there is a deer right there. I'm gonna grab the camera. Let's see if we can flip it. I tried. I think it was a doe and I think she saw me stand up, so she ran away. She was right outside the window. It is a rainy, cold day, which is what I was just saying, and it's a perfect day for doing this, a cool fall day. This first giant box is actually a roll of this paper. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'll link it down below, or on Patreon, I'll link that as below as well. I have been talking about this paper a lot lately. I think it's the first time I'm talking about it here. This paper is lovely. And in fact, here, let's see if I can grab it. I did this right here on this paper. This is the September video for the Studio Circle tier over on my Patreon. So this paper is mixed media paper. It is not 100% cotton, but it is 184 pounds. So thicker than your average watercolor paper, and it holds up great to gouache and lots of layers and mixed media. The only thing I will say is I noticed I really scrubbed at this background here, and I did notice a little peeling there, which you wouldn't get with a cotton paper, but it is so cheap that it makes up for it. This roll, let's just open the end and I'll just slide it out. This roll is 40 inches by something that I can't remember right now. 10 yards, 20 yards, I don't know. I'll list it down below, but it is much cheaper than 100% cotton paper, and for gouache, I don't really care. Like if I was doing a base of watercolor, which I haven't tested on this paper yet, I will at some point. I haven't tested watercolor on it yet. What is that? Oh, that must be the shipping. So here it is. It's a giant roll. Oh, I should open the other end. There's the label. See, you can see it there. This entire giant roll, I'll show you the end. It was $39. It is very, very cheap. And it makes me feel like I don't have to be precious with it. And I can use as much as I want. And now something's slid down there in the bottom. Ooh, my little art room's not big enough for such a, okay, there we go. It was just packing paper. I'll probably keep it in here to protect it somewhat. Yeah, so lots and lots of sheets here, for not a lot of money. And like I said, I'm really enjoying it. You can also get it in the pads like this. I feel like this pad was like $6 on Blick and maybe $9 on Amazon. So I don't feel like I have to conserve it or be careful or anything like that. And again, I haven't tested watercolor on it. I do sometimes do watercolor for a base layer. I don't know if I would do it on that paper. I just don't know enough yet, but for gouache and everything else I'm doing, it's lovely. Okay, so I'm just popping in real quick to say this video is sponsored by me. Seriously, I haven't been taking on as many sponsorships because of my Crohn's flare and then fusions and my parents being sick. So I thought I'd pop in and say I'm going to be doing a shop update, my first one in almost a year, and it's going to be a holiday shop update. It's going to be opening up to the general public November 22nd. If you want 48-hour premium VIP access before that, where you get a password protected link to the shop and get first dibs on things, you can sign up either as a free Patreon or a paid Patreon, or even just for my email subscription list, both of which will be linked down below. I'm going to be doing jewelry and small art originals and maybe some prints depending on how much time I have. But I've been thinking a lot about, I'm trying to see if you can see the iridescent flakes in there, acid-free, encased in a nice medium, so they'll last a long time. But I've been thinking a lot both about trying to make the world a more beautiful, better place, and also guiding messages, guardian spirits, guardian angels, connecting to something greater than ourselves. And I've been doing these little smaller mini paintings in the hopes that I'm going to offer them for much lower price than I normally would. On canvas, I normally charge like $3.50 to $4.50 per square inch. I'm thinking I'm going to price these around $2 a square inch or even less. So like these little guys will be $48. And that one, this one's not done and this one's not quite done. I'm playing with this halo / moon effect, but you can see there's some iridescent blue, interference blue paint there, and metallic gold. I'm thinking this will be like maybe $125, which is even less than $2 a square inch. But I wanted to make original art accessible to as many people as I could. Maybe pay for a few more supplies since I haven't been taking on as many sponsored people. And anybody who buys something that contributes toward buying more art supplies is my hero, because I'm very low on acrylic paint. But also I wanted people to be able to take home a little something special to have in their home. So this is just the start of what I'm going to make, assuming my parents stay healthy-ish and I don't get too tired from my infusions and everything. So stay tuned, there will be more coming up. And like I said, if you want early premium access, sign up for either my email subscription list or a Patreon, even a free Patreon, and you will get premium early access. Okay, that's better. All right, so now let's move on to all of these fun boxes. I have big plans for all of these. I am working on an illustration project that I am not talking about yet, but I'm really excited to be working on. And some of these, like I said, are restocks. Some are things I needed specifically for the project. We'll save the sheet so I can just double check and make sure everything's in there. And some of them are some new things that I haven't tried yet. Okay. So some of these are restocks and some of these are new in here. So let's open it up and we'll go through what's what. Okay, so in here, let's do the new stuff first. I am trying the Liquitex acrylic gouache, which I have not tried yet. It's a little bit cheaper, like per ounce, than like the Holbein gouache, and I just really wanted to try it and see what I thought. And also I was taking a class where the teacher was using these and they looked really lovely. So I figured, let's try them. We'll see what I think. And, you know, worst comes to worst, I use them up and don't rebuy them. But, so I got, this is cadmium-free red light. And I got, ultramarine blue red shade. And there are some more in another box. I got fluorescent opera pink, which is fluorescent. But this is for, like I said, an illustration, so it doesn't scan well, so be aware of that, especially if you're, like, for example, doing a children's book. You would need to talk to the publisher so that they can replicate the fluorescent ink in their printing process, which they can do, and cadmium-free yellow light. Maybe I'm not gonna, well, maybe I can grab it. Hang on, everybody. Okay, so this is the book On a Magical Do Nothing Day by Beatrice Alamania, who is one of my favorite illustrators. And this book has fluorescent orange in it. I'm sure the camera isn't picking it up because that's one of the problems with fluorescent paints. But this is also fluorescent orange. The little girl is done in fluorescent orange. So they, you know, they replicated that orange in the printing process for her. I don't know how much of that you're picking up. So it can be done, but it is something to be aware of. All right, so now the rest of these here are restocks. And they're going to be all Liquitex soft body acrylic. So if you remember this past summer, I had like the little trial set, and I thought I hated them. And they were just sitting here and sitting here and sitting here. And I decided to shop my supplies during my no-buy this summer. I went from May until the end of August before I purchased anything. So all of May, all of June, all of July, almost all of August. So 4 months without purchasing any new art supplies at all, not even restocks. And I was shopping my supplies. I used up all of my set of Liquitex soft bodies, completely used up. And I was using them on paper, and that's the key. I don't like them on canvas. I still don't like them on canvas. I prefer a heavy body on canvas, but on paper, these are lovely. So in sketchbooks, and then I was just painting on sheets of paper. And since I have this open, if you have been on my channel, you've probably seen all of these already. These are just a few of the ones on loose paper that I did with the Liquitex soft body as I was experimenting this summer. And I just really, really enjoyed it. And I knew that I would want to keep doing that this winter. So we have, and again, I'll link everything down below with the exact colors. If you want to get some for yourself, they'll be down below. Did I say the colors already? This is ultramarine blue red shade, and this is phthalo cyanine green blue shade. And then we have burnt umber and quinacridone crimson, which is a really, really lovely color for toning canvases. And I have not found it in, I've looked in the heavy body. I'm 90% sure they don't have it in the heavy body. And they definitely don't have it in Liquitex Basics. I don't think. I could be wrong. This has been a crazy time for me. So if I'm wrong, somebody put it down in the comments and let me know that they do have it. Because this is quickly becoming one of my favorite colors for toning canvases. And then I said burnt umber, I think. And then I have quinacridone magenta and cerulean blue hue. And I am trying to stay away from the cads, in case you didn't notice. I've talked about that before on here. Burnt sienna and yellow oxide. I just have so many issues already. Why add potentially more, I guess. I have a video where I had a scare with the cadmium in the pastels. I can link that down below if you want to check it out. Yeah, so now this box is a little crushed up. Hopefully everything in this is okay. Fingers crossed. Let's see what is in this one. Yeah, it is a cozy rainy day out there. It's actually only September 3rd. And we've already had 2 frost warnings. And tonight they're saying there might be snow flurries. So yeah, that's way early, even for us. I mean, you know, often by Halloween, we might have issues with that, but usually not quite this early. So I don't know. So in this one we have, I got a little tiny pad of this. This is the same paper as the roll. This was only $3. And I thought it would be really fun and low pressure and low stress for doing some little tiny work on when I'm not feeling good. If you've been around my channel, you know I have Crohn's. I'm in the middle of a flare. Like I said, it's September 3rd right now. I have a biopsy coming up, and then they already started the pre-cert for switching biologics, but I'm feeling sick right now. So I do look a little sick. But I thought this would be an easy low pressure way to, like, I don't have to cut anything. I just can sit down and sketch out a little something and paint. So again, it was like $3, like $3.40 maybe. I don't know, but really cheap. And then we have in here, we have some more gouache, and this is kind of a weird color palette of the gouache I picked, but it was actually what the teacher was using in the class. And I added I actually added the red and the ultramarine. So I'll show you his actual palette when I'm done here. But he didn't have like a red or a traditional blue in his palette. And I like those. So, but these are both from his palette. So this is Turquoise Deep. And then this is Unbleached Titanium. And then Yellow Oxide, which is also part of his palette. And I think there's some more in this box, but we'll get to that. And then I got, right here, I've been using my Masterson Stay Wet Handy palette a whole lot. I moved my whole art room around. I did a whole studio makeover. I don't know how much of it you can see back there. I will link that video down below. I'm sure it's going up before this one. But I have been working at my desk here, and I have the really big Masterson Stay Wet palette, but my desk isn't huge and it takes up a lot of room. And I had bought this little one for taking with me outside the summer, which I did. I took it out lots. In fact, I think it's got no, it doesn't. It's got gouache in it. But I found that I've been reaching for it to use on my table here too. And actually, I just ordered another one. So I have two, because I was thinking I'd like to have my soft bodies in one and my gouache in another. So they're not very expensive. I think they're like $14, $13 on Blick. So I just ordered another one, but it's not here in this shipment. And then I also got some more of the little sponges. There are 3 in here. I think it's 8. You can also just use paper towel and parchment paper on top. I've done the paper towel lots, and that's fine. But I'm not a huge fan of the parchment paper or tracing paper on top. I actually really do like the Masterson Stay Wet palette paper. I feel like it holds up really well to scrubbing and repeated use. And so I'll even wash the paper and like clean off what's there. I mean, it'll get stained, but I'll clean off what's there and then start over with fresh paints, which is actually what I did. This one, I guess I'll open it. So I washed off the Liquitex soft body that I used all summer, and now it's got my acrylic gouache in it. And this is the same sheet. I just flipped it over. So I feel like it holds up better and lasts longer, and also stays a little bit more moist, if that makes sense. And also one thing I wanted to mention about that smaller palette was that I have not had as much molding with this small palette as I get with this big one. And I've even put vinegar in this big one, a couple drops, like one of you beautiful people told me to do. And I'm still getting a little tiny bit of molding, not as much, but I don't have that problem with this. So I don't know what to say about it. And then I'm super excited about these. And then I got some super color pencils, and I was planning to get myself like a whole set of pencils for my birthday, and I ended up needing some stuff for my this project that I'm working on, but I did want to add a few more. So I will go through the colors that I got. And again, Alice Melvin is the artist who uses the super colors just as colored pencils for her illustrations. I have a couple videos where I'm talking about her and how she does that up and flip through one of her books. So I will put one of those videos down below so you can look at it. I had just the 12 set right here, and I wanted to add some more colors to it. So these are the colors I got, and most of these are her favorite colors, Alice Melvin, but some are ones that I added myself. So here's what we have in here for the super colors. I got here, let's turn on the light. Sorry if it shines in your face. Let's see if we can lower it so it doesn't shine. There, that's better. So I got Golden Ochre right there. And then I got the khaki green. So I got new contacts, and they're supposed to be bifocal contacts, and I don't think I like them. I think I just like putting on reading glasses more. I still struggle to read, but to be fair, my eyes are really, really bad. So This is dark green 229. Again, I'll put all the colors down below. I don't know if I've talked about it yet, but I have had a heck of a summer with like health stuff. This is apricot. And one of the things I found out is that I have autoimmune eye disease to go along with my Crohn's. This is moss green. And not only are my eyes just really bad, like prescription-wise, it turns out that because of the Crohn's and the autoimmune stuff, Van Dyke Brown, I actually have early onset cataracts, and the one in this eye is not great. She said I might get, this is brownish orange, I might get 4 months out of this eye or a year or two, and then I'll probably end up having to have surgery. So I am struggling a little bit to see olive brown, which felt kind of devastating to me, but charcoal gray. I know there's other stuff to worry about. But I will probably be having surgery on that eye coming up at some point. This is palish blue. Is that right? Bluish pale. Yeah, so I'm struggling to see. So I am sorry if I can't read anything. Pale yellow. I am doing my best. Mouse gray. And even with my contacts now, they can no longer correct my vision down to 20/20. It's like 20/40 or something. I don't know. Plus the smearing from the cataracts. So golden ochre. The right eye is worse than the left. Flame red. I think there's probably a video up about it already because, like I said, this past summer was really hard. Dark gray. And if there is, I'll link it down below. And this is sky blue. And if not, there is one coming because it was quite the summer. All right, so now we're on to our very last box here. Let's open these. One good thing about art and this channel and my Patreon is that it really does give me something else to focus on during this really hard time that I've had. So I'm very grateful to all of you here and all of you on Patreon and everybody on here on YouTube. Thank you everybody for your support because it's really, I don't know, it would have been really hard to get through this summer without this. And speaking of viewer support, somebody sent me a buy me a coffee, which is linked down below if anybody is interested, and told me to buy the Sailor Fude pink pen because I've been loving the green one so much, which has slightly less of a bend, and that's what I did. So here is the Sailor Fude. Thank you so much. I'm having a blank on the name. I'll say a little thank you down below because I'm on prednisone for my steroids and it causes brain fog and I cannot remember for the life of me and I'm really sorry. I purposely looked at your name before I came on so I would remember it and life is a mess. Okay, so this is the pink one, which is a 40 and the ink converter for it because I've been doing a lot of, in fact, I think the Sailor Fude is probably packed in my bag because we went fishing for Labor Day weekend and I took it with me. And then the last couple of things here, we have the Liquitex gouache in violet prism violet, and light blue permanent. And then one more Liquitex soft body in napthol red light, which is a good substitute for cadmium red light. And I had another pad of this paper coming in a different size and it was sold out. So that is on back order. And I had, I think it must have been for the gouache, because I can see I got a quinacridone magenta for the soft body. Why do I feel like there's colors missing? There are colors missing. There's no light yellow. Oh, that was definitely a me thing. I'm sure it probably wasn't a them thing. Brain fog. So then his palette that he was using for, let's see if you can see it, if I line it up here, that he was using for the class I was taking was, oddly, this. So he only used these 6 colors, 7 colors, plus he had a white and a black. And he used white and black, just acrylic from Liquitex. So that's what I was planning to do. But so turquoise deep, light blue, permanent, prism violet, fluorescent opera pink, cadmium-free, yellow light, yellow ochre, and unbleached titanium. And I'm blanking on his name too. And I looked it up right before I started. Boy, prednisone is a beast. I can't remember, but I'll link his name down below too. It was a Domestica class, and I will link that as well. I'm not affiliated with Domestica. I'm not associated with them in any way. It's not an affiliate link. I just really like Domestica classes. And so then I added in these two myself, and there is a quinacridone magenta coming that is back ordered because if you've been around my channel, you know I love me some quinacridone magenta. I always have it on my palette, whether it's gouache or acrylic or oil paint or watercolor. I always have a quinacridone magenta. So there are all my lovely new supplies, and I'm going to move the camera now from here to here, and we'll do for sure some swatching, maybe some art. I don't know how today is going to go or how this week is going to go, but we'll do something. Okay, so I thought I'd start with swatching the Liquitex soft bodies. Oh, my dog's barking today. I might have to go see what she's barking at if she doesn't stop. So I can already tell, like I said, I don't know how it happened, but I forgot yellows. So I've got the yellow oxide, but normally I would get a light cool yellow and a warm, deeper yellow, and somehow I didn't. I already ordered the light yellow, knowing the light Hansa yellow, knowing that I missed it. I did not order I usually get like a deep azo yellow or something like that. But before I did, I thought we'd swatch this and see what we have. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to swatch all of these and see what we have. Way out of it. What am I doing? Okay. I got these, and my husband was kind enough to drill some holes in them. And like I was thinking Christmas ornaments, but it's still September, and I know I should be preparing for Christmas, but I got 15, I think. But I was thinking maybe I could do 3 with like a fall, autumny, Halloween theme, and maybe just put them up and maybe do some little prints. I don't know. And I was thinking I might gesso them and then do the painting with these soft bodies and see what I thought. But first let's swatch them and see where we're at. So my camera was cutting in and out here and the sound was bad, but this is what I got of swatching the soft bodies. I did everything else on a different day, and it appears the camera was working much better, so we'll just do a quick voiceover for this part, and then there will be a very long chatty swatching session where we do all of the Liquitex gouache and the super color pencils, I think is what I ended up doing. And I think I ended up swatching all of my super color pencils and not just the ones I got, so that I would have a chart to hang on the wall like I've been doing with all of my supplies lately. Okay, so it's time to swatch these Liquitex gouache that I got. It's mid-October. If you watch my channel, you'll know that I've recently had a lot of trouble with fluorescent paint, but I bought this before that, so we'll still swatch it and see what we think. I'm just putting things in order here to swatch. I want them somewhat in order. Oh, I have 2 of that one. I wonder how that happened. Okay. I am glad that I ended up getting this cadmium red hue, because that ended up being a good idea. Okay, so we're going to swatch these in order, and I'll just grab a little paintbrush over here. And we will little swatch. I think if I can, yeah, I figured that's what it was going to be. We'll just peel these off and see if we can get a little paint from the, so this is the unbleached titanium. And we're going to do like that, and then so it is, like I said, mid-October, and I've been tired. But I am feeling kind of excited about my little shop update. I'm feeling kind of inspired to create some things for that. I think I filmed a little like a little ad for myself, and I have just started, so I have only a few things like painted and stuff right now, but I'm obviously hoping to add some more. And then I have some jewelry that is left over from, not left over, but I was gonna do a summer shop update, and everything went to heck and I never did. So we'll be adding that. And like I probably said this already, but if you're a Patreon or a member of the email list for a special holiday gift, you don't even have to be, because normally it's just my paying patrons who have pre-access, but as a special holiday gift to everybody who has even just showed up to support me, not even paying anything, just showed up, I'm gonna let you guys have a special 48-hour access to it before I open it up to everybody else. So I'm thinking it will go up, woo! I am having so much trouble today. It should go up November 22nd, Saturday, for everybody. So that means you guys would have access the Thursday before, which would be the 20th if I'm doing the math right. Who knows, considering how things have been going for me today. If that's not right when I'm editing it, I will pop in the right date. This is, I don't think I said, cadmium-free red light, which is almost orangey. And then this is the fluorescent opera pink. And then we have, that is not in the right order. I'm not sure how that ended up like that. So if you are a member of my Patreon, even just a free member, everybody over there will receive the link that is password protected, plus the password 48 hours before it goes up after my YouTube video on Saturday the 22nd. And then, and email, did I see that too? Email, if you're an email list subscriber, you'll also get access to it. And then everybody else after YouTube. And like I said, I only have a few things done so far, and who knows if I'll even get anything else done. I do want to, I have to edit this video that I'm doing right now this afternoon. And then I am hoping maybe that I might be able to get started on some more paintings. I bought whoa, my shelf just fell down. I guess I'll worry about that later. Not my monkeys, not my circus right now, I guess. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I'm hoping to add some more paintings, and I'm hoping to start some more this afternoon, although I also bought a beautiful little bouquet of sunflowers at the grocery store the other day, and it's sitting right here, and I'd kind of like to paint that too. So I'm so glad that I'm feeling like painting again. I kind of lost my inspiration there for about a month. I had a really hard time forcing myself to create anything. And in fact, I do think I already have, I think that by the time this video goes up, the other video talking about it will already be up. And then if I stick with my schedule, so I talked about what was doing to get the inspiration back, but I didn't really talk about, I mean, most of you guys who follow me probably already know a lot of what's happened over the last year, year and a half, 2 years. But there will be a video coming probably next week, right after this one, where I talk about everything. Because I haven't, well, there's one more thing that I'm kind of waiting on to hear back on, and that won't be in the video, but hopefully that'll be good news. One more medical related thing that I'm actually feeling really nervous about, and I'm not going to talk about it right now. But I should know by tomorrow if I'm going to have bad news or good news for that. So hopefully by the time this goes up, I'll have gotten answers for that, and fingers crossed it's a good weekend. And this is a beautiful color. What is this? What is this color? This is light blue permanent. This is one of those ones that was suggested by that artist for a fun palette. I forgot his name already. I probably talked about it in the opening, the package opening. So if I didn't say his name, I'm forgetting it again, but I'll look it up and I'll put a link to his Domestica class because I'm really enjoying it. Although I am getting away from, so I tend to do like more mixed media, watercolor, gouache, those kind of things, illustrations in the summer, the spring, summer, and fall really. And then somewhere in fall, I tend to switch to more of like painting on canvas with acrylics and oil. It's been my pattern for like the last 3 years, and it's just happens. It's not like I do it on purpose. Like I don't know if it's a way to keep from being bored, or if it has to do like with the seasons and like being cold in the house, and you know, when it's nice you want to go out and paint outside, and it's easier to do that with like watercolors or whatever. Just sketching outside, but I don't even think that's what it is, because even when I'm working in the house, I tend to work with paper and watercolors and gouache and mixed media during the warmer months. And then for some reason, I just start craving like more fine art style stuff on canvas for fall and winter. And the switch came super late this year, and I was feeling really uninspired and really having trouble making any sort of art whatsoever, and I was starting to get like really nervous and scared actually. And like I said, that video is probably already up, but like I was like, oh my god, what if I never want to make anything again? And I know like this past summer and fall has been so hard for me, medically and like emotionally and stress, and I'm sure that played quite a bit into that. But I started to really worry that I was going into one of those really bad art blocks again. This is another color recommended by that fellow, and that is a beautiful color. And that, my friends, is my whole little palette. I got 2 quinacridone magentas somehow by accident, and isn't that beautiful? I started to really worry. I was really worried that I wasn't going to want to create art anymore. Or that I was going to go into like a really bad art block where it would be, you know, a super long time before I felt like making art again. And it lasted like 4 weeks. And then what did get me out of it? I'm not sure even. I think I woke up one morning and just felt like painting with acrylics on my canvas, and that I guess sparked everything off. I just got blue paint all over my hand. Okay. I'm just going to pause talking for a minute here while I label all of these. Okay, so one of the things I'm watching for is to see what kind of finish these dry with, and if they're really velvety and beautiful. So I'm going to let this dry for a minute while I go wash my hands, clean up here a little bit, and then we'll come back and take a look at them. Okay, so these are still wet, so I'm just going to move them to the side, and we will swatch. These are the Caran d'Ache Super Colors that I got. And then these are the roll that I have. These are just the ones that I already had. So I thought we could put them in order and then we'll swatch them all in order is what I'm thinking. So let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's do like this, and then, yeah, so I was feeling really, like, it started out, I stopped making art, not because I didn't want to, but because there were too many doctor's appointments and too many crises and too many problems. Let's put this in here even though it's kind of, and I just wasn't home and I was super busy and it was a problem, and it wasn't because I didn't want to be making art, it was because like I just couldn't. And that was like the first week or two, and then once I was out of it I couldn't get back into it, and that happens to me a lot. I talked about that a little bit in the inspiration video, and I know some of you said that that happens to you too, but it's like, as long as I keep making art, I'm always really inspired and I want to keep making it and I enjoy it, and it's not a problem. But once I get out of it, suddenly it becomes like a chore, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And it's such a weird thing because, you know, as long as I keep doing it, like I'm super motivated and I want to do it every day. But the minute that I like have to stop for whatever reason, it's like it becomes a chore, and it's so weird. But that is the way that it is. So I don't know how that happened. I think I have two blacks. No, umber and black. Never mind. So that's how it started. And then I just was feeling bad and I couldn't get back into it. So, yeah, I don't know. And in fact, like, these supplies that I got, they're for a project that I'm working on, and it has a flexible timeline, which is lucky because I'm not going to make the original timeline. So yeah, I'm actually putting this off for a little bit so that I can work on painting these little paintings that I'm doing for my shop update for the holiday season, because at least I'm feeling motivated to do that, which is good. So what I'm going to do for these is I'm going to do like just a circle, because I plan to use these more for colored pencils like Alice Melvin, which I've talked about on here a million bazillion times. But I am going to do a swatch that I'm going to wet. So we'll do that. So I am very grateful that my inspiration, or my motivation really, came back out of the blue, because it was something, but not like that one really, I just spelled that totally wrong. Not like that one really, really bad art block I had. So these are intended specifically for illustration. I know that they don't have the greatest light fastness, but these are... Oh, this is a Pablo. How did this get in here? Huh. Well, we'll just do that. That's weird. I don't know how that got in there. Now I forgot what I was saying. I don't remember. Oh, these aren't light fast. They're meant for illustration and illustration work for a super secret project that I was working on. And it doesn't matter if they're light fast, although they do need to scan well, but luckily these do scan well. It's not a problem like with, say, fluorescent paint. They just will eventually fade is the problem. These do wet really nicely. I've been using my Albrecht Doers the way Alice Melvin uses her super colors, and they are nice, but not as nice as the super colors. That is not a red, but that's what it's called. Flame Red 050. And then this one is just plain orange 030. I've also really been enjoying having, so I have the painter's diary where you can swatch your paints in, but that is not a capable thing. I have really been enjoying having a whole wall of swatch cards. And then I just look at the wall, and it's inspirational and motivational, but also it's a really, oh, that's surprising. Look at how yellow that is compared to the... They do change when you wet them. All watercolor pencils will often have a shift in color. So if you're going to use them wet, it's good to know what they look like. I really like to look at my wall and pick out a palette of colors, which I have never done in my life, but I have been doing the last few months and really enjoying. So you've probably noticed that I've been swatching my supplies on, this is the jumbo pad of bead paper from Walmart, which Tracy told me they do not sell anymore, although they do still have a smaller size pad there. So thank you to Tracy for letting me know, because I was wondering what happened to it. This is Apricot 041. So one artist that I follow and I talk a lot about is Rebecca Green, and she will do her like an illustration with a very limited palette, and she doesn't pick pure primaries as her, I mean occasionally she does, but a lot of the time, this is Golden Ochre 033, a lot of the time she does not, and she'll pick like, you know, muted or desaturated tones, and that'll be her mixing palette for her gouache, and it has been so much fun to play with that. I've never done that before. Like, I've always done a split primary palette. I always screw that up. Every single time I say the wrong thing. And you'd think I'd remember, but I do not. So I will always have like a split primary is a warm red and a cool red, a warm yellow and a cool yellow, a warm blue and a cool blue, and then I always add in burnt sienna, and raw umber, and I also like to add like a viridian and a dioxazine purple. And I forgot what this color was already. Golden Ochre 033. And one of the things when I was in art school was we were not allowed to use convenience colors for the whole time I was there, ever. Boy, that's a lot different too when you wet it. So that was one of the art rules that I recently talked about breaking, because first of all, you can use whatever colors you want. You don't have to follow the rule. Is it good to know how to mix colors? Yes. Once you know how to mix colors, do you have to always and only mix colors? No, that's ridiculous. But I was told that real artists always mix their colors. They never use convenience colors. But you know, honestly, sometimes that makes me not want to paint, because A, sometimes I don't feel like mixing up huge patches of color. And I know how to desaturate like the colors from the tubes, so like it's not that big of a deal to squeeze like a bunch of this light blue permanent or this turquoise deep, and like if I want to desaturate this turquoise deep, well, I'll add the cad-free red. Like, I know how to mix now. So, you know, to make it easier, you can start with a base color that's not a primary. What color is this? This is Green Ochre 025. And then, you know, desaturate to get the tone that you want, but you don't have to start with, so with this, I would start with a warmer blue or something like that, and then, you know, mix, and it's going to take forever, and it's going to be a very specific color, and if you need to make more of it, you know, good luck. because the more colors you add, the harder it is to match it later on. And I have this terrible thing where I'm like, I can't waste paint, and I never mix enough paint. And then I always run out. And then I try to mix it, and it's never an exact match. And it's just, it makes me not want to paint, quite honestly. Which is ridiculous. But now, if I wanted to, you know, start with this turquoise deep and desaturate it a little bit with the cad-free red light, like, I know that mix. It's very easy. I can replicate that color a whole lot easier than if I start with primaries. So that's, you know, one reason why I like using convenience colors. But two, this using like not pure primaries the way Rebecca Green has done and has, you know, shown in her videos and on Patreon. This was lemon yellow, I think. Lemon yellow 240 has been kind of eye-opening to me. Like, you know, like, I don't know, it seems so fun and so creative, and like you don't know for sure what you're gonna get. And yeah, so I've been doing that some. I'll pick some like 5 colors from one of my charts up there, and I will paint a whole piece with them. And sometimes it turns out good and sometimes it doesn't. I have had that happen, and you haven't seen those fails. But I am feeling inspired and like learning again and everything, so you know, yeah, that's important to me, like really important to me. This is Pale Yellow 011. So it's sort of, having these cards up on the wall has been really inspiring and really helpful. And I put these in the wrong order. Let's go like this. And I wanted to do one for this one too. I don't have an unlimited amount of room on the wall. So I may have to pick and choose what goes up there. But it's been a lot of fun. And then, you know, obviously if you're just starting out and you don't know how to mix colors, stick with your split primary, obviously, because you do need to learn how to mix colors. You need to learn how to desaturate and all of that. But also it's much cheaper to mix your own colors. So if you're on a budget, then yeah, stick with your split primary, and you know, add more as your budget allows. And this is the first time where I've not gotten a split primary in a new supply for paint. I always, every time in my entire life that I've bought a new paint, I only ever buy a split primary. So if I get Liquitex soft bodies, I will only get a split primary. If I've never bought the golden fluid acrylics, I only get the split primary plus, you know, usually a raw umber I like, but I don't think golden has a raw umber, because I wouldn't have bought a burnt umber if they didn't, or maybe it's not the right shade. I don't know. And then I will add more as my budget allows, because we don't have a ton of money. I'm actually, you know, not supporting our entire family, but, you know, a big portion of my income supports our family. And my husband, you know, he has a good job, but he's not supporting us totally. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so we don't have a lot of money. And, you know, we're starting to think about like saving for college for our kids and all of that. So we do not have a lot of money. And I, like I said, always start with a split primary and then add as I am able, which is, until I had this channel, like, with my previous job, I didn't really spend money on the art supplies. So for a very long time, that was all I had and all I used. And also a lot of the art supplies I got were from Walmart. And were they kind of bad supplies? Yes. Was I still able to create with them? Yes. Also yes. You know, you make art with what you have. You don't have to have 100 million super expensive supplies. Now I am a professional artist and this is my job and my income depends on my supplies. So yeah, I've been able to branch out and get some other stuff, which has been lovely. But, and even when I was in art school, you know, whole starving artist thing going. I had I think they were called work studies back in the day. So I worked at Subway and did school, but again, not a lot of money. In my fine arts emphasis on studio art, I was doing oil painting, and I was using oil paints from Walmart. I'm not sure if they still sell oil paints at Walmart, but they were like the De La Rowney brand. And every now and then I would buy like a more expensive tube, but it was rare. Like I was learning with those, and they provided the canvas because they were teaching us how to like stretch our own canvases and prep them and everything, but they did not provide oil paints or brushes, so a lot of what I was using was from Walmart, and I was not the only one. A lot of us were using supplies from Walmart, so like use what you have and don't feel bad, you know. I don't know. That's one of the things about social media that I think is, you know, not great. Like, I think it's made people feel like to be artists, they have to have certain supplies and they have to spend a certain amount and they have to have, you know, certain things, and that's not the way it was and not the way that it used to be. And I, you know, I think I'm kind of lucky to, this is bluish pale, to have grown up when I did. I graduated high school in 1999. I got my first, we had a family computer when I was 14, but that was for like, you know, email and playing Oregon Trail. And then when I went to college, like, they provided us with computers, which was, you know, really exciting at the time. I did not have my first cell phone until I believe I was 23. We had landlines in our computer dorm rooms. I'm really lucky that I got to live before the tech explosion. Because life was definitely 100% different then. And, you know, I had, you know, I'm not saying life was great, because like I had issues. I mean, there were problems, but I don't know. On the one hand, you know, tech like YouTube makes me able to be here on this channel, but on the other hand, I think it's caused a lot of problems, probably more problems than what I don't know. It should have been left for, I think, like emailing and like education and like the biggest, most beautiful library in the world. I think cell phones should have been left at texting and not turned into smartphones where people can get a hold of you all the time, no matter what. That said, do I have a smartphone? Of course I do. I'm recording on it right now. Do I kind of wish that I didn't have to? Yes. But it is what it is, and we go with the times and everything, but I do feel like I think we took it too far as humans. I think we took it too far with the tech. Ultramarine 140. And now we have the whole AI thing. Did I see a 240 or 140? 140. And that's a whole nother... Yeah, we definitely... It's like that quote in Jurassic Park, the first one, from 1994 or whatever. Like, we were so busy wondering if we could, we never stopped to think if we should. And of course they were referring to cloning dinosaurs. Which is not what we're talking about here. But... yeah, we didn't stop to think if we should. And I see a lot, like... I know what it was like before tech, and we probably shouldn't have, quite honestly. I mean, yeah.
I believe, if I'm correct, that the internet started as a way for obscure texts in college libraries to be shared, and that was a beautiful idea. But the way things are going now, like, I kind of think it's what's tearing humanity apart. I think it's just people have, I don't know. I don't think we were meant to know all the things all the time, and I don't think we were meant to, you know, live at a level of outrage all the time like we do now. And I don't think, I don't know. Maybe I should make a video on it at some point. It's just, I don't know. On the other hand, if you break down in your car in the middle of the woods, it's nice to have a cell phone to call for help. But again, like, we could have done that with those old flip phones. My first cell phone was a flip phone. They were really cool back in 2002. I mean, so obviously there are some good things, but I think the bad outweighs the good. Quite honestly, I should have wrote that down. And yes, it depends on how people use it. And yes, we could say, well, I just don't think some people have the willpower to stay away. It's made to be addictive, for one thing. I don't know. I try not to feed into that in my channel here. I decided a while ago not to try to... I don't want to spread the outrage. I don't want to spread the hate. I don't want to spread the ugliness. And in fact, this summer, my channel has taken a huge hit in views because I haven't been doing as many art hauls, because I don't want to feed consumerism. Sometimes I need to get restocks on supplies, and I don't even film opening them because I don't want to feed into that, making people think they need to have everything all the time. And again, remembering that I'm a working professional artist and this is how I earn my living. So I might need stuff that other people might not, but I don't want to make them feel like they need it or whatever. Yeah, I took quite a hit this summer for my ratings, but I guess we have to follow what's important to our heart too. We can't just... But I also have to feed my family. So, I don't know. I don't know. My son had an assignment where they had to talk about, I think it was ChatGPT or one of them, and I hadn't ever used it. Like, I didn't even realize, like, normal people were using it. I thought it was, like, tech people. I don't know. Sorry, I had trouble reading that. I pulled it up and I asked it if it thought the internet was a mistake. And like it outright said in some ways it was for, I asked if the internet was a mistake for humanity. And it outright said in some ways it was. And I said what, I can't remember the exact question, but I said something like what has caused the most damage, and it said when the algorithms started optimizing for outrage, it damaged humanity and we may not be able to go back. And I was like, holy moly, like it clearly knows the problem. I was actually shocked that it said that when I asked it. I did not expect that. Yeah, it clearly knows the problem. And I asked, like, what's going to happen? And it said because outrage drives huge amounts of engagement, when AI starts to take over and do AI accounts on things like Instagram and TikTok, it's going to get worse. Like, it flat out said it's going to get worse. And it scared the heck out of me. I mean, if humans, I don't know, we didn't stop to think if we should, and I'm a little worried it might be too late. I don't know. I suppose I've offended a bunch of people talking about it, but okay. All right, let's take a look at where we're, so first of all, here's this. Look at these beautiful colors. I think I did a good job adding a few to my collection. I definitely am going to probably want more. I like to use these as colored pencils on top of illustrations for a layer and a mixed media piece, but I like to use watercolor pencils because if you don't like the line, you can always, let's just so you can see what I mean. Like, let's say you make like a line that you think is too harsh or too bright, or, you know, whatever the problem is, you can take, let's take this one, and then you just damp dry it, and you can just knock it back so it's not quite so harsh, and then dry it right away, and it makes it much more blurred and pleasing, which is nice. And of course, if there's something that you don't like, you can often just erase the whole thing. I'm not going to erase it, the whole thing, but see, I erased this whole end of the line, so that's nice. But also the lay down is really smooth and really nice. And this is cold pressed watercolor paper, so it does look a little grainy. But that's what I'm using. I want to use it up. Shopping the supplies I already have. This is my Uni Jetstream 101. And in case you haven't ever tried these, they are light fast ballpoint pens and mostly waterproof. I should really let it dry, but look, nothing. I didn't even let it dry. Waterproof. I love these for sketching and taking out. You can do a little sketch. I'll just do one here quick of a little mushroom, and then maybe a little one next to it where its cap is tipped up, and you see just a little bit of the top, and then we'll do some dots. And then, just for fun, we'll do our little bit of red. And then I know I need a range of browns. I'll probably be working on that next. I guess we'll use, this dark gray has a little bit of an undertone when it's wet. We'll do a little gray for the shadow here and the gills. And then we'll transition into this brown. Actually, yeah, let's do the brown. We'll do some brown here and then slowly. And we will quick wet this. I don't even know how, I don't remember how I got on the whole AI, internet, I don't even know. It's just been something I've been thinking about this week a lot. I don't know. I'm trying to keep this, I know that like those life type videos do well, but I also am trying to keep this like really still an art channel. So I don't want it to be too, I'm trying to stay focused on the art and also not get drawn into the algorithm and everything like I just was talking about. While still making a living, which is a hard balance, but I'm trying. Just do some little grass here. That doesn't look at all realistic, but you get the point, and it didn't bleed at all. So I will often take that with watercolors and go out and do some painting. Okay, so now this is mostly dry. And it does have a very nice velvety texture. Is the texture quite as good as my Holbein acrylic gouache? Probably. Okay. Okay, so my camera shut off. Hopefully it didn't cut too much off. But what I was saying was I was comparing the texture of these to my Holbein acrylics. Holbein acrylic gouache. And I was saying it's a little shinier. It's not quite as velvety. It's not quite as matte. Potentially it's not quite as pigmented as the Holbein acrylic gouache. However, per ounce, it is much, much cheaper. So if you're looking for a decent gouache that's not super expensive, this might be the way to go. I will need to use it more consistently and run more tests before I firmly recommend it. But just from this, it seems pretty nice. The other acrylic gouache that I use is Turner acrylic gouache, which is, it tends to dry super fast. Even in like a stay wet palette, it dries really fast, and it tends to be sticky and not glide on smoothly with the brush. So like issues like that, I wouldn't know if this Liquitex gouache has that unless I painted a piece with it. But we don't have time for that today. So stay tuned for that in a future video. And again, if you want to join my Patreon or join that email list to get on my shop update, I know I don't have a whole lot of stuff to show you yet, but if you think you might want to purchase something and you would like to have early access to it, the sign up for that will be down below. And until next time, happy creating.